49ers 53-man roster cutdowns are happening as we speak, so we're going to track them live on this show, give you guys some reaction, see me work a little bit. Obviously, this is a hoodie show. This is much more casual than last night when Jimmy Garoppolo re-signed with the 49ers. That was a Blazers show. Today's a hoodie show, and today's a hoodie and a spreadsheet show as well. So here you go. I'm keeping this updated as we go. This is live update, 49ers roster, projected depth chart. If you want to follow along, I'm copying and pasting the link into the chat section. Maybe Mike can go ahead and put that link into the description. I don't have time to put it in the description, though, right now. I have two monitors open, and I am looking at TweetDeck as tweets come in, so I could see some of the news here. Some text messages come in, too, so I could report some of the news. And I'm updating this 53-man roster projection. So as far as players who have been cut so far, let's go through the list so far for the 49ers. I have the running list here. Kadar Hallman, cornerback. He was cut a couple days ago. Donovan West and Ken Crawley. Donovan West, undrafted free agent center out of Arizona State. He was cut yesterday. Ken Crawley, veteran cornerback, the 49ers brought in when they were having some injury issues there. He was also cut yesterday. Now, Jason Poe was waived today. That was, I think, ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reported it. Poe, so far, as of right now, is the only player who... Oh, yeah, Croft is in here twice. Thanks. I just got a comment. Poe, so far, is the only player who I had in my 53-man roster projection who ended up getting waived. I'm sure there will be others. Nobody ever has a perfect 53-man roster projection, but I only bring that up because that is the one position where we're going to have to move another player onto the 53 to account for Jason Poe. As you can see here, I've already taken Jason Poe off of the 53 side of the projection, and that means the 49ers only have 8 offensive linemen. We are expecting them to carry 9 offensive linemen based on what Shanahan has said. And that means that they're going to have to carry either Nick Zakelj, Keaton Sutherland, or Justin Skule. Out of these 3, I think Zakel's been the most impressive during training camp. He's actually improved. I don't think Sutherland or Skule have shown great signs of improvement. I guess you could say Skule looked better in the second half of the Minnesota game than the first half, but Skule also is a veteran. Probably the 49ers feel that he might have more plug-and-play ability for depth at tackle. So maybe Skule makes it, or maybe the 49ers' 9th offensive lineman ends up being a veteran that's not currently on the roster. Somebody like John Miller, the guard, played for the Panthers, who the 49ers worked out a few days ago. So, yeah, Snead has been cut. Keeping a running list of these things right now, so there are going to be some things that I haven't quite gotten to yet. I did list Snead. I haven't. Let's list Snead down here. Willie Snead the 4th as one of the cuts. So as we go through the list of cuts right now, here at the bottom of the screen, you have Poe, obviously, Tariq Castro-Fields, who I think is going to make the practice squad along with Poe if he clears waivers. JaMycal Hasty, that's big waiver news for the 49ers. Receiver Tay Martin, that was expected. Alfredo Gutierrez, he'll be back as part of the international pathway exception on the practice squad. Jordan Mills, that was expected. Marcus Johnson, expected receiver, and Willie Snead, receiver, expected. So let's talk the bigger names so far as these 49ers releases. Jason Poe. 49ers, why did they do this? I know this is disappointing some fans. Poe is a rookie, undrafted free agent. The 49ers, I think, are very interested in bringing him back into their practice squad. I think they want him to contribute for them at some point this season. I did project him onto the 53-man roster after I saw him get first-team reps, shuffling with Aaron Banks at practice a few days ago. But the 49ers are playing a complicated numbers game right now. They have to try to fit as many players as they can in a very limited space on the 53-man roster. So if there's somebody that you think you can clear through waivers and get onto your practice squad, you do it. And I think that Jason Poe, as I've talked about many times, shortest lineman in football, undrafted free agent, long shot kind of guy. The 49ers might have more value for him, more use for him than any other team right now, which makes it likely that he'll clear waivers and they'll be able to add him to the practice squad and he'll be able to continue his development with the 49ers. Same thing with Tariq Castro-Fields. He's not the shortest lineman in football. Castro-Fields is actually a cornerback, But I think at the 6th-round corner, somebody who came on a little bit later in training camp, had those pass breakups against the Texans. Castro Fields is another player the 49ers could get onto their practice squad. As Brandon Hill says, Poe won't be claimed. He'll be a practice squad guy. Exactly. That's the thinking on the 49ers part. We are going to have to wait about a day to see how this all materializes. But don't freak out over individual cuts. Look at this in the big picture. Big picture is what I want to talk about regarding the 49ers running backs room. The running backs room looks like this without JaMycal Hasty. You've got Mitchell, Wilson, Sermon, Davis, Price on the projected in, the 4 looking in. Now Jordan Mason is the one on the outside looking in. I do not foresee the 49ers carrying more than 4 running backs on their 53-man roster, not counting Kyle Juszczyk, who's a fullback. If Jordan Mason is to make the team, and I've always thought Mason was a more likely candidate for the practice squad, but if he's to make the team, then you probably have to kick one of these guys off. Would an injury do it? I don't know if anybody's hurt right now. Sermon was hobbled a few days ago. A trade might do it. Maybe the 49ers trade Trey Sermon, but I think you only carry 4, but I think you do want to keep all 5 in the building. Keeping 6 was always going to be really, really difficult in the building because, you waive JaMycal Hasty, he might get picked up by somebody else being a veteran. He showed some good pass protection against Troy Dye, against Minnesota. We'll see if Hasty gets picked up. If not, I think the 49ers would be happy to stash him onto their practice squad. So we're waiting news on Jordan Mason. As far as an overall counter goes, I have the numbers right here. I have 52 right now on the 49ers projected 53-man roster, and I have 69 out of the 53 spots taken. So there's 17 over the limit right now. As I mentioned, 52, so that means one more spot on the 53. I do think that the 49ers will carry Tyler Kroft, George Kittle, Charlie Werner, and I would think Ross Dwelley. Shanahan has been big about carrying 4 tight ends in the past, so I'd expect 4 at the tight end position. I definitely expect 6 at receiver. Like I said, 5 including the fullback in the backfield, 2 at QB with Lance and Garoppolo. We've already discussed that news ad nauseum here over the last 12 hours. Offensive line, I think they're going to be 9. So I don't know if I should put Justin School as my 9th player in the offensive line room and the 53rd person on the 49ers roster, or if I should hold off for the time being. I think D-line's going to be 11. I really do. I don't think they're going to cut Hassan Ridgeway or Kamoko Toure. I think they're going to keep those guys, but we'll see what happens there. Linebacker 5 with Demetrius Flanagan-Foles rounding it out. And the cornerback room here, you have Ward, Ambry Thomas, Emmanuel Mosley. Maybe maybe you only take 8 offensive linemen if you don't really believe in Justin School or Nick Zakelj, if you think Zakelj should start on the practice squad. And you have a guy like Quantrez Knight make the team as a nickelback/safety to beef up the defensive backfield. I have Dante Johnson also on the outside looking in. So there's a number of machinations that the 49ers could do. One of them will be carrying Jimmy Ward, and he's over here, not counting against the roster right here, but they're going to have to carry him on the initial 53, and then they're going to move him to injured reserve. He'll be eligible to return week 5, and 24 hours after moving Ward, or 24 hours after Ward makes the roster, that maneuver to IR will be possible, and the 49ers will be able to re-sign one of the veterans that they cut. So that's where we're at right now. 69 players. 49ers still need to cut about 16, but it's going to be a little bit more complicated than that with those injury situations. And here you have the running list of who they have cut. All right, so let's take a look at the chat section. Let's see what you guys are asking about or tracking stuff on Twitter. I think I've caught you up on all the news for right now. Kyle and John speak at 11:45 Pacific, so 1:45 Central. I'm not on Central time, I'm on Pacific time. I misspoke. That is happening in about an hour and 15 minutes. Obviously going to address the re-signing of Jimmy Garoppolo, but they'll also talk about some of these roster cuts, since it's a good thing that many of these are coming in before the roster cut down and before the press conference that happens at 1 o'clock. So it's a busy day in 49ers land as we go through the news in real time. Everybody that's just joining, why don't you go ahead and like this video and subscribe to the channel. We had the big Jimmy Garoppolo analysis yesterday, so you could subscribe to The Athletic for that. and I will answer some questions as we give our cut down reactions. Let's take a look at them right now. What do you think? Right here, Andrew. What do you think the 49ers will do with extra salary cap space now? Is Bosa getting his big contract before the season starts? 49ers adding any depth anywhere? Are they set on the 53 for week one? I think that the space of Jimmy Garoppolo savings has always been earmarked for in-season spending. They're going to need some for injuries. Those always cost a lot of money because you have to sign new guys, and you're not alleviated to the cap hit of the injured player. And also for trade deadline pickups or pre-trade deadline pickups. The 49ers do need money to spruce up the roster because it's much harder to move money around and wiggle around the cap during the regular season. So Bosa, that's always been an next year thing. People got excited when Lynch said that they've budgeted for both Bosa and Deebo Samuel this offseason, but he never specifically said they'd pay Bosa this offseason. He still has 2 years left on his contract. So next season makes a lot more sense. All right, let's see if you guys have any questions. Do I think that the 49ers can pick up an O-lineman before the season starts? Yeah, they can. They've been working out O-linemen. They worked out John Miller, veteran guard, got a lot of starts at the NFL level. So maybe he's the 9th. We'll see what happens in that situation. Looks like we have another cut. The 49ers plan to waive. This is according to Matt Barrows here from The Athletic. The 49ers plan to waive Segun Olubi. He and Marcelino McCrary Ball stood out this offseason. Olubi is definitely a practice squad candidate. Absolutely. So we're going to go ahead and make that change here on our 53-man roster. Why don't we open it up? So Segun Olubi he was practice squad all the way. As you can see right here, I had him on the right side of the linebacker list on the bubble. I can erase that cell formatting. Segun Olubi is a hell of a story. He's high school teammates with Drake Jackson at Centennial Corona down in Riverside County in LA. And Olubi didn't really pick up football in earnest until later in his high school career. He was deciding between football and basketball. He realized that 6'2" football would be a better bet. So he was a late bloomer in football. And because of that, he didn't get offered a college scholarship to play football. He went NAIA, D2, JC, transferred a bunch of times, worked his way up to walk on at San Diego State, and then earned a scholarship. And then obviously from there, signed on as an undrafted free agent with the 49ers. The thing about Segun Olubi is that he's a linebacker, but he runs a 4.4 40. That's fast. I mean, that's unheard of for a linebacker. But again, he's really, really raw because he was such a late bloomer and started playing football at such a late age. That makes him the ideal practice squad candidate for the 49ers. We never expected him to make the 53-man roster. So there's a lot of context behind the Segun Olubi cut. As you can see here in the linebacker room, the 49ers might have the best core in the league. Warner, Greenlaw, Alshire, Oren Burks, Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles on the projected 53-man roster. But these two guys right here, Greenlaw and Alshire, only under contract for this one season. If the 49ers only keep one of them, or if they keep none of them, they're going to have some practice squad depth to be developed behind these players for the future. That's where Marcelino McCrary Ball comes in, and that's where Segun Olubi definitely comes in. So with that being said, I have to tweet. I have to take Matt's tweet here and I have to retweet it. So give me a second. I promised you guys that this would be a work show. Oops. I don't want to get off of Twitter right there. I don't want to be tweeting in front of everybody. I'll put the roster up on the screen for you guys here while I'm working, so you can take a look at that. I put it in the chat section, but if you click that link, you'll be able to work on that Google Doc yourself. So anyway, I want to let the Twitter followers know, the guys that aren't on here. I want to let them know about Segun Olubi. Segun Olubi was, or has been, an ideal practice squad candidate all along. Blazing fast linebacker, 4.4 40, but eminently raw. didn't focus on football until late in high school, where he was Jake Jackson's teammate. The 49ers should happily stash Olubi on the practice squad for further development. All right, we're 7 characters too long. This is always the trouble of Twitter. I'm just going to go P squad, not practice squad. Boom. Exactly there. Tweet has been delivered. Beautiful. Thank you, Matt. Good reporting from Matt. No more Segun Olubi. So my counter on this roster has updated. The 49ers are now at 68 players, no longer so nice. And they have 15 to go until they are at 53 overall. So we continue to work through these roster cuts. Here's the list, the running list of everybody that has been cut. Obviously, you're going to have Kalia Davis and Jason Verrett start the season on injury lists, PUP and NFI. Somebody the other day asked me, why can't the 49ers just put injured guys, every injured guy, on the PUP list? And the answer to that question is you can only go onto the PUP list if you haven't practiced yet. It's an off-season list. So only Jason Verrett and Kalia Davis, who haven't practiced yet, who are hurt in prior football activity, can go on there. All right. So that is, now we're up to date again. That means I could go back to the questions. Any update on the Burks injury? Oren Burks has a knee sprain. I mean, if you need updates on the injuries, again, go to this spreadsheet. I have everything there. Look, there's a question about the Burks injury. Let me just use this to show off the spreadsheet. You have a 53-man roster projection, and pretty soon it's not going to be a projection anymore. It's going to be an actual roster tracker. You have a depth chart illustrated here. You have a roster count. You have a running cut list, and then you have an injury tracker. This is the injury tracker. Every single injury that the 49ers have reported or has been reported surrounding the 49ers is listed on the injury tracker. If a player has returned from that injury, he is highlighted in green. If he's out for the season, or if he's on, then he's highlighted in red. If he's on injured reserve, he's highlighted in pink. I have the date of the injury and the estimate that's been given for the player's return, so you can keep track of everything. So these are all the injuries that have hit the 49ers so far this season. You asked about Oren Burks. We have a question right here that asked about Oren Burks, how he's doing from his injury. I lost the question, but it's somewhere there. So Burks is right here. I could look it up immediately. Oren Burks has a knee sprain. The date of the injury was August 25th. That's 5 days ago. The timetable that Kyle Shanahan gave was week 1. They expect Oren Burks to be back for week 1. Week 1 is September 11th. The game is, at least against the Chicago Bears. I'm sure that by being back week 1, Kyle Shanahan means that Burks will be back for practice before then. So you could use this injury tracker and use this spreadsheet for all of your 49ers roster needs. If you want the link, I'm putting it into the chat section right now. There you go. Do I think that Quantrez Knight gets claimed if he gets cut? Probably not. What you have to realize, the 49ers know better than me. They have guys on this studying the needs of every single team in the NFL to see who might get picked up if they waive him, right? The 49ers have to know this because this is a game of chess. You're playing this really strategically. But the thing that we have to realize in the big picture is that there are 32 NFL teams, and all the teams had to cut from 80 to 53 by 1 p.m. today to be compliant with this roster rule. So that means every single team has had to cut about 30 players, right? Roughly. 30 times 30 is 900. So it's somewhere in the 800s if you do the 32 times 27, which are the two exact totals. That means there's a whole lot of guys floating around because teams don't have a lot of roster room. So you really have to stand out if you're cut. You really have had to stand out in the past during the preseason training camp if you do get cut to get picked up by another team, unless you have some familiarity with another coaching staff. That's why it's so hard for some rookies. So I think that you could probably say that Quantrez Knight gets through waivers and the 49ers can re-sign him if he does get cut. I keep on getting asked about offensive linemen. John Miller is a veteran guard that the 49ers recently worked out. So that might be somebody the 49ers can add. Otherwise, keep an eye on the waiver wire, on the release wire right now. Just keep an eye on the transaction wire. If you like an offensive lineman, maybe he'll be a candidate for 49ers to sign. Remember, in 2017, they traded for Laken Tomlinson right before week 1. They like getting their guards off of the scrap heap. They don't mind developing guys for that position because Shanahan is so particular with what he wants in the run blocking game. So it is absolutely a good time to be looking at roster intricacies for the 49ers. All right, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and bring them up. Once again, here's the roster for you. I know I see a lot of new people coming in. Roster injury tracker, 53-man cut rundown: Hallman, West, Crawley, Poe, Castro Fields, Hasty, Martin, Gutierrez, Mills, Johnson, Willie Snead, and Segun Olubi as we go through this show. I'm going to have to move my car in a little bit. I might keep this running live just for the time being as we look at the 49ers roster cut down. In fact, I'm going to make a little bit of a note right here on the show. We'll see how many of you stick through here, even if I have to leave for a few minutes. Shanahan and Lynch are going to go in about an hour. It's 10:38 a.m. And with it being 10:38 a.m., we can say the 49ers have made almost the majority of their cuts before the Shanahan and Lynch conference call. Yeah, it doesn't look like we have any news that's imminent at this very moment. So here we go. '49ers quarterback room has to be one of the cheapest in the league. That's what Greg Papa just texted me. Yeah, he's right. '49ers quarterback room. I mean, what? You have cap hits for Garoppolo, probably. I wonder if we have the details for Garoppolo's contract at this point. Let's look. Jimmy Garoppolo over the cap. By the way, now that we do have a little bit of a lull, let me pop this open on the screen for you. I mean, I talked about this yesterday over a lot of discussion on this show. But it is worth noting because it ties into the 53-man roster cuts. I'll pop it open on the screen. Boom. Jimmy Garoppolo's return gives the 49ers strength and options at quarterback. This was a business play. I mean, even on my live this morning as I was walking through the streets here in San Francisco, this was the logical next progression. I think the only people that you were more shocked by this if you were sucked into the vortex of social media over the course of the past several months. But my dad, for example, he's not sucked into the vortex of social media. I talked to him on the phone this morning, and he wasn't like he didn't really bat an eye. He was like, yeah, well, this is the next logical business step for the 49ers and Garoppolo. If you can't trade him, you need to buy more time to trade him. And if you need to insulate your quarterback room to make your football team better right now, it should make sense for both parties with the deadline pressure of this roster cut down helping spur things along. So, I mean, I guess on the internet, we love our drama, right? I don't really love it, but people love their drama on the internet. Everybody's going to talk about, oh my God, this is shocking, this and that. But it's just because we got so sucked into this Trey versus Jimmy narrative that really didn't illustrate the truth of the situation. The 49ers want to have Trey and Jimmy. The 49ers want to have as deep of a quarterback room as possible. So Garoppolo's return gives the 49ers option power. Business 101 for the 49ers. It's been that way. I said that earlier in the offseason, probably back in March. And I'll say it again. I'll keep on saying it. I don't care how many times people will kick, scream, cry, and throw a tantrum on Twitter over that. That's just how the 49ers operate. And so far, it's been a sound business process for them. It's really funny. I'm seeing people talk about this on Twitter. Jim Harbaugh yesterday, he was the overseer of the Alex Smith, Colin Kaepernick situation with the 49ers. And now obviously he's the coach of Michigan. I'm reading off my second screen here. He has 2 quarterbacks with Michigan, and he's going to start one in week 1 and start the other in week 2. And then he's going to decide what to do moving forward past then. He called the Michigan QB plans biblical. Jim Harbaugh did. He said they were biblical, and he cited King Solomon. So Jim Harbaugh yesterday on August 29th, on the same day that Jimmy Garoppolo reportedly re-signed with the 49ers, got biblical with us about his quarterback situation. And that all ties in. I mean, you just can't make this timing up. Sports are supposed to be entertainment. And right now we need Russell Crowe. We need Maximus from Gladiator to throw his sword at the Twitter peanut gallery and yell, "Are you not entertained?" I mean, this is entertainment at its very best. So if you're not entertained by what's happened here over the past couple of days in 49ers land and with ex-49ers coaches and how it all ties together, you talk about everything tying together. Yesterday was August 29th. It was the year anniversary of when Garoppolo and Lance alternated snaps against the Raiders in the preseason. So sometimes it just feels, it's all destiny. We watch this stuff and it seems like somebody's scripting all this, and that makes it so entertaining to cover. So that's Jimmy Garoppolo. Make sure you check out that article. I wrote about the business sense, the quarterback depth that the 49ers want to foster. And you guys can all check it out in the chat section. It's right there. That's the link. $1 a month right now for The Athletic. It is well worth it. If you're tired of the clickbait online, if you want, real substantive analysis of what the 49ers are doing, then go ahead and check out that article. It's up on the screen, and I linked it in the comment section for all of you. So that's it right there. So thank you guys for subscribing to The Athletic. I really appreciate it, especially if you go through that article, and we can, just build the community there, and that makes it a lot of fun. And obviously, it doesn't hurt to build simultaneous communities. We have one right here too. Like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 700 of you on right now. That's awesome. I don't think it's a record. I think we've had 1,000 before, but that's like playoff run kind of stuff. We're not on a playoff run right now. We're on cut down day. I don't think McCrary Ball's a bubble player. I think that Flanagan Foles is making the team. It's just McCrary Ball's a practice squad candidate. Flanagan Foles is an established special teams kind of guy. Again, it's about the future for Segun Olubi and Marcelino McCrary Ball. The 49ers love both of these guys, but I don't think they have room for them on the 53-man roster this year. I don't know about Donovan West of the practice squad. Hell yeah. I drive a luxury car. Oh, I can tell you what it is. Why are you guys asking me what I drive? You guys are crazy. I'm going to pop open the roster one more time. Thanks, Riddy. I appreciate you. I really do appreciate that little tip there. Thanks, man. Good stuff. I just spied that over in the comment section. You guys are the best. It's awesome to build a nice little community here. Yeah, I got to go move my smart car. No, I wouldn't fit in a smart car. You guys already know this. I think people figured out that I'm pretty tall when I interviewed Kittle, and we're about the same height. We're gonna have to do a little back-to-back measurement in the locker room this year. I think I might be a little bit taller, but I think he's 6'4". I got that 6'5". Maybe Kittle 6'5". He's got some muscle on me. He's got a few pounds there. But we play different sports, so it's all good. I definitely don't drive a Prius, I'll tell you that much. I would not get caught buying a Prius. It's not going to happen. Not my cup of tea. But yeah, I'm 6'5.5", for those of you who ever run into me in person. Yeah, I heard about that. They joked. They said I was trying to break the law, but the express lane's not a carpool lane. I said express lane. I didn't say carpool lane. I said express lane, which means I have my fast track tag, the fast track flex. And you go 1, 2, 3. I was the only person in the car, so had to pay, but got past some traffic, got down to the facility in time. All right, guys, let's get this. Let's make it big. 49ers roster. All 731 of you could take a look at it in all its glory. The 49ers are currently at 68 players. They have 52 of 53-man roster spots taken. I'm going to send out a couple messages. Try to get some more news for all of you as we move through this day. When do I suppose the 49ers will be done with all their cuts? Well, they have to be done in about 2 hours and 15 minutes at 1 p.m. Pacific. Kyle and John speak in an hour. That's 11:45. That's going to be a conference call, so I don't have to go into the facility today. 49ers not practicing. John Chapman says he's getting DMs that Quantrez Knight has been waived. I wouldn't be surprised. I projected him to get waived. So if he gets waived, I would expect him to be back on the practice squad. It's a guy that you sneak through. That's what people are saying. That, yep, 49ers have waived Quantrez Knight. So that is not unexpected. We can go and make that change on our roster now. Here's Quantrez. Erase him from there. I expect him back on the practice squad. Somebody just asked me about him. And we add him to the running list of cuts right here. Quantrez Knight. Boom. There you go. 49ers down to 67. They have to get to 53. I only have 52 on the inside. The Browns have released Josh Rosen. Stop the presses. Who would have thought that Josh Rosen wasn't a long-term solution in Cleveland? So Rosen is available. The 49ers can always add more to the quarterback room. In fact, I'm going to tweet that. The 49ers can always add more depth to the QB room. I'm not going to put an exclamation mark so we can out some people on Twitter who don't understand sarcasm. There's going to be one. There's always one that won't get the joke. At least one. But yeah, anyway, to answer the question, I expect the 49ers to be done with all their cuts by 1 p.m. Pacific time. So Knight is gone. He's now on this list of 53-man cuts. 49ers at 67 have to get down to 53. 14 to go. Mike Florio thinks that Jimmy Garoppolo could start week 1. I just want all the clickbait to end. I mean, if Trey Lance gets hurt, sure. I mean, he is the backup quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, so there's a chance that he plays. But I think Trey Lance is clear-cut QB1. I'm looking forward to hearing Lynch and Shanahan talk in about 55 minutes. I predict that they will double down on Trey Lance QB1, and they'll double down on this was the right business decision to keep Jimmy Garoppolo around, especially, the main factor was Jimmy agreeing to that contract. That's what surprised me most. And I just kicked my tripod there. That camera almost came tumbling down. But, with the situation and Jimmy Garoppolo, it ended up working out for the 49ers. Didn't think that it'd be possible, right? Especially when Jimmy's given a tearful farewell back on February 1st. But it did end up indeed being possible. JaMycal Hasty is indeed gone. Yeah, Tommy, thank you. Giving me Excel tips. Control key and hit the X key to cut. I know I bother some people. Oh, look, we have our first catch of the day. Somebody who didn't realize I was being sarcastic when I said the 49ers should add to the quarterback room. Well, at least he asked. He goes, joke or no? Somebody's not going to get it. This one's funny. Cut Jimmy and sign Rosen to save money. Oh, my God. Twitter's a funny place, guys. Twitter's a really funny place. Deshaun Watson's going to move to the reserve suspended list at 4 p.m. today. When do I think that Jimmy gets the full playbook? Well, I hope he has it now. He signed a contract with the 49ers. And who knows? He might have had it the whole time. This might have been no, I don't think so. But it could have been, 49ers could have been slow playing the reveal of this a little bit. I think, this has been in the works for maybe a week. I don't know if Jaworski Tart is coming back. It's possible. Definitely possible. Let's wait for all the dust to settle. I think it's really important to view these roster cuts in totality, right? As a whole. You just look at one, you look at JaMycal Hasty, and you start making proclamations about Jordan Mason. Well, it's tough to do until we know exactly what they're going to do with Jordan Mason, Trey Sermon, all those guys. So just sit back and wait and watch all of this happen at once, because then we'll have the full list. That's what my article on Athletic today is going to be about. It's going to be about the 49ers roster cut down and how they've constructed the big picture. I'm going to have a lot of takeaways about the big picture. If somebody asked if I'm anticipating any trades, definitely possible. Wouldn't be shocked. The 49ers have done this before. Scrap heap kind of stuff could be significant. Laken Tomlinson in 2017, they got him for a fifth rounder. So it is possible the 49ers orchestrate a trade. I would never anticipate one because I think it's less likely that one happens than it does. But you have to be on your toes. I talk about option power, Jimmy Garoppolo. You have to sit in a day like today and maintain as much option power as possible. All right, it's time for me to tweet because Quantrez Knight is absolutely a practice squad candidate. Don't lose sight of the fact that over 800 NFL players are being cut in this round due to roster space limitations. That makes it very likely that a rookie UDFA who hasn't completely blown everyone away will clear waivers. All right. Quantrez Knight is absolutely a practice squad candidate. Don't lose sight of the fact that over 800 NFL players are being cut in this round due to roster limitations. That makes it very likely that a rookie UDFA who hasn't completely blown everyone away will clear waivers. I had to reduce a character, so I took out is, and the tweet is off. Waiver claims can start happening after 1 p.m. today. And then by tomorrow, 1 p.m., we'll see who's cleared waivers and who hasn't. So tomorrow, you could start building your practice squad if you're the 49ers. And also, after the 53-man roster is set, you have 24 hours. Tomorrow, 1 o'clock, you can start moving players to IR. So we'll see the 49ers move Jimmy Ward at least to injured reserve. Okay, so we've updated Quantrez Knight, 49ers at 67, have to get down to 53. Might be a good time for me to go move the car. I'm hanging in there. I'm hanging in the pocket with the car. I don't want to get a parking ticket. So I'm hanging in the pocket right now for you guys. I'm risking, I'm not afraid to take the hit for the show. Waivers get cleared after 1 day, to answer your question. I think Sermon either stays or gets traded if they could find a trade partner. Because those are the two logical conclusions of the 49ers brass talking up Sermon, right? They've been talking him up a lot. You're either trying to pump him up a little bit for trade purposes, or you're just genuinely happy about how his offseason went. Third round pick, only in his second year. While we wait for this next one, I do think it's a good time for me to go get the car. So why don't I put the roster up on the screen for you guys? I'm going to mute the camera, and I'm going to say, I'm not going to mute the camera. Well, I guess I have muted the camera, but I want to mute the mic. Lombardi will be right back. Cool. Talk to you guys in a couple minutes. Gonna go move the car. Gonna go take care of this business. Looks like about 100 of you left while I was gone. Car successfully moved. Update. Didn't get a ticket. Checking the messages here. Nothing happened while I was downstairs. Cool. Shame on the 100 people that left. I told you I'd be right back. So impatient these days. All right, so why don't we recap where we're at right now? 49ers 53-man roster cut down reactions. Back to the roster. So far today, the cuts that we've seen for the 49ers are as follows. We have seen Jason Poe, who I think the 49ers will bring back to the practice squad because they believe that they can do that and have him clear waivers, which is, I think, a reason to waive Jason Poe because you want to preserve as much 53-man roster room as possible. Tariq Castro Fields, who I also expect to be on the practice squad, rookie cornerback, sixth-round pick out of Penn State. JaMycal Hasty, if they can get him on the practice squad, I think the 49ers will do it. Tay Martin, receiver. I don't know. I don't think they hold him in as high of regard as Hasty. Alfredo Gutierrez will be back on the practice squad. He is an international exception player, the International Pathways program, so he won't even take up a roster spot. Jordan Mills has been released. I don't know on that one. Not like a developmental project. He's a veteran. Marcus Johnson, Willie Snead, Segun Olubi, and Quantrez Knight. Willie Snead is a veteran receiver who's dropped a couple passes this preseason. Marcus Johnson, a veteran receiver who's doing some special team stuff for the 49ers. Neither of those two were expected to make the roster. Neither was Olubi nor Quantrez Knight. With Olubi, I expect him to be back on the practice squad. Same with Knight. Olubi is one of the 49ers linebacker projects for the future, running that 4.4 40 at the position, which is obviously eminently impressive. So now people back on the bandwagon. We're back up to 825. I guess all I had to do was get back on camera. Now people are back. That's good. Shame on you for leaving. I promised you guys I'd be right back. I'm trying to get this up to 1,000 before Kyle and John speak here in about 45 minutes. It's 11:03. Could talk about what I talked about yesterday now that we have an audience on Jimmy Garoppolo. So, yeah, why don't we do it? This is, I try to keep this as calm and rational as possible because people were just losing their minds yesterday when Jimmy Garoppolo re-signed with the 49ers. But it was a natural progression of basically what had to happen given the business dynamics of the situation. No market for Jimmy Garoppolo trade-wise because of the surgery during the offseason and then the musical chairs, which had stopped spinning in August. Well, that meant that the 49ers didn't just want to give up one of their assets for nothing. Because they didn't want to give up one of their assets for nothing, then this was the logical move. For Jimmy Garoppolo, well, this might not have been the logical move for much of the offseason. But once he realized that, he would have to sweat it. He had to sit out, wait to see if he got released. He had to wait to see when a quarterback opening materialized. I think he realized, hey, I've got memories here. I've got friends in this locker room. I know the system. This team can win. And they're offering me some guaranteed money right now. So instead of sitting around and sweating it, I could just sign up and play football and prepare myself as a good teammate for free agency in 2023. So the deal that you see underneath me made full sense for Jimmy Garoppolo, made full sense for the 49ers. It was a big-time business move for both parties that I think was a natural progression in the domino effect that we've seen this offseason. Though, detractors of this move, I just think that they're jealous of Garoppolo. They don't like Garoppolo for some reason. But they'll immediately start getting out and just hysterically yelling that Trey Lance is somehow going to be negatively affected by this. And to that, I say, if Trey Lance is negatively threatened by this, he isn't who the 49ers thought he was. The 49ers believe in Lance, the person. And believing in Lance the person in an alpha sport like football means that you think that he's man enough to go out there and be able to perform even though they have depth at the position. I've said this many times over the past 12 hours. The 49ers have Deebo Samuel performing even though Brandon Ayuk is at his position. 49ers have Nick Bosa performing even though he knows that other good players like Samson Ebukam, Eric Armstead are playing the defensive line. It's a team sport, right? Guys try to make each other better. The 49ers have in no way said that they're threatening Trey Lance's job. And they believe that Trey Lance, as an individual, is somebody who's focused on actually accomplishing stuff and not worrying about getting in quabbles and going on social media. And because of that, because they believe him in as a person, they don't think that he's negatively threatened by a move that strengthens their roster. They believe that Trey Lance is about the team and about the team goals moving forward, because that's going to get the best out of any individual player. I think, if anything, this move underscores that the 49ers do believe in Trey Lance, the person. Because if you thought that he was going to be so easily derailed by something like this, then A, you shouldn't have drafted him, and B, after such an investment in him, you wouldn't do something that you would think risks derailing that investment. So I think a lot of people are looking at this completely wrong, just because they want the situation to be as dramatic as possible. And I don't think there is drama here. I think this was a natural extension of a logical business process. The big question is when the 49ers cap savings will come. And that's actually something that I was looking up right now, because the contract hasn't yet been made official. So I think that all of the cap websites, we're talking about Spot Track and Over the Cap, all these websites are using just reports and assumptions for their cap projections. And it's a situation where we don't know how much the 49ers are exactly going to save this year versus next, because of not likely to be earned and likely to be earned incentives. There are $10 million of playtime incentives in this contract, and nobody's really sure if they're not likely to be earned or likely to be earned. If the 49ers included a clause in the contract to make them not likely to be earned, they don't count against the 2022 cap, and the 49ers will have saved over $17 million, which gives them $20 million to spend. Gives them immediate financial flexibility while also insulating quarterback depth. Option power. That's the name of the game. Business and option power. I should probably tweet a little bit more of that. All right. So the 49ers are currently cutting down their roster. I just wanted to make that brief segue into Garoppolo. If you want to read the article that's up on the screen, go ahead and check it out in the chat section. $1 a month right now for the Athletic. So go ahead and sub to the Athletic. You can do that right literally in the chat section. Go check out that article. Talked about a lot of the things that I just mentioned. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. We're still waiting on some more cuts, and we're waiting on Kyle and John for their press conference at 1. Keep on saying 1. 1 is the deadline for the roster cut downs. 11 o'clock is the 11:45 is the conference call. Nick Mullins is in line to back up Kirk Cousins. They cut Kellen Mond and Sean Mannion in Minnesota. We saw how bad, especially Kellen Mond, looked in week 2 of the preseason. So Nick Mullins backing up Kirk Cousins, huh? What can possibly be more Shanahanian? That's an adjective for Shanahan. Shanahanian. I'm tweeting about that. You can bet I am. Back up Kirk Cousins. I'm going to make a Shakespearean, Shanahanian stuff in Minnesota. I'm going to put that up as a title in this as soon as I could copy what I just tweeted out. Oh my God, we're about to hit 1,000. We were 1 away. We're at 999, and then 8 people decided to log off because I guess they didn't want me talking about Kirk Cousins and Nick Mullins. I know who you are. The 8 of you that left. I put this in the chat section. Nick Mullins in line to back up Kirk Cousins. Shakespearean, Shanahanian stuff in Minnesota. We never hit 1,000. We hit 999, and then everybody started logging off. What a tragedy. 976. I'm going to stay here till we hit 1,000. But I can't. I got to get on this conference call with Kyle and John. I don't think I'm allowed to live stream the conference call. Sorry. I think that's I think the 49ers would be happy with that. Maybe I could post it later, though. See if I get a little audio recording for you guys. Well, somebody said maybe Garoppolo's needed. He's not needed because who the 49ers play. He's needed because it's the NFL, and you want to have as much depth in the quarterback room as possible. The 49ers know this better than anybody. In 2018 and 2020, Garoppolo suffered season-ending injuries, and the 49ers season went in the toilet. So you want to avoid the danger of that type of disaster. All right, I think I want to take a little bit of time before this conference call at 11:45. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the stream. In summary, let's go back to here. The 49ers have cut a bunch of players. We expect more. We're certain there's going to be more because they have to finish this up by 1 p.m. Pacific time. They're down to 67. Currently have 52 projected to 53. I don't know who that 53rd is going to be because they didn't carry Jason Poe as I had projected on the 53. Maybe it's just in school. Maybe they trade for an offensive lineman. Maybe they carry only 8. Who knows? 49ers have thrown curveballs at us before, so we'll see. But they've cut several today. 14 more to go. We will see what happens. I will definitely keep you apprised of everything. Everybody, thank you for joining. Really appreciate it. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to The Athletic, and everybody have a good lunch. It's already 11:13. Big day, big afternoon. So make sure that you're on top of everything and follow along for the news. Lombardi himself on Twitter as well. All right, everybody take care. Thank you.